Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liang-ming. Homage to Master Sakya Tsongkhong, Dezhung Rinpoche. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Dubten Darji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice tonight, Padma Kumara. Sumu, Tanchen Katso, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, all disciples present here and over the internet. And our participating VIPs today are Accountant to True Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa, a PR Director of True Buddha School Taiwan Temple, Dharma Brother Fermi Wang, Dr. Ryan Zhuang, and from Canada, Dr. Olivia Chung. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? Tonight we practice Padma Kumara. When Padma Kumara give an instruction, one is the lotus mudra or holding lotus mudra, and the other hand is forming the teaching the Dharma mudra. So holding the lotus and teaching the Dharma. At that time, there were very few people who knew about Padma Kumara and was teaching this mudra. And later on, in the grottos of caves in Donghuang, we saw that there was a Tathagata, which is a Buddha, who formed the same mudra. One hand holding the lotus like this, and the other hand is teaching the Dharma mudra. Of course, in the caves in Donghuang, there are many Padma Kumaras, countless of them. At first, we thought that there was only in cave 314 there was a Padma Kumara. And after asking the people in charge there at the Donghuang caves, oh, you want to see Padma Kumara? Oh, it's in every cave, not just cave 314. Because at that time, Cave 314 was being renovated. It was closed. But the True Buddha School disciples wanted to see the Cave 314, but it was closed. So those people talked with the manager for quite a bit, and finally he opened the cave for them to see. And they also said that Padma Kumara doesn't exist only in Cave 314. But in most of the other caves, there are also Padmakumaras. And at that time, Padmakumara was also called the manifested youth. So during the Tang dynasty, there was already a children rhyme, 10 of them, 10 songs, 10 rhymes that were all referring to Padmakumara. I don't remember so many of them. The lotus youth meets the golden sage. The lotus youth meets the golden sage. The showers of blossoms left and right. The marvelous sound heard at the pavilion. It's more wonderful above the cloud. There's just only one of them, but there were 10 of them total. I don't memorize it. So you could see that Padmakumara already existed then. And on top of that, there were 2 lotus youth, the earliest ones, Bao Yi youth and Bao Sang youth. Bao Yi meaning precious mind, lotus youth, and the supreme precious youth. And the founder or the lineage, the patriarch or the founder of Mahamudra and great perfection are the Adharma Buddha. And the first one that he transmitted to was, do you remember? The Mahamudra of the Kagyupa, the primordial Buddha, transmitted to Bao Yi youth and Bao Sang youth. Therefore, the Bao Yi youth and Bao Sang youth were Padmakumara, and Adharma Buddha is the primordial Buddha he wanted to transmit Mahamudra Dharma practice to the Bao Yi youth. So you could see that Padmakumara was together during the time of the Adharma Buddha in order for the transmission to occur. Therefore, Padmakumara was from a long time ago, and he was also a lineage guru of Mahamudra. So don't think that Padmakumara is just a small potato. A small potato chip, a small lotus youth. But his origin, he was together with Adharma Buddha. Therefore, Padmakumara is extremely precious. When I was talking about Padmakumara, I went to many of the great monks or the great knowledgeable people and asked them about Padmakumara, but nobody knew. I did not know either at that time. And then gradually, everybody starts to get to know them more and more. Like Bao Yi youth, Bao Sang youth, all appeared to us. And as we know, the Shambhala kingdom, the first king of Shambhala was a reincarnation or manifestation of Manjushri Bodhisattvas, and his son is the White Lotus King. And he wrote a book called The Immaculate Radiance Treatise. And that White Lotus King was Padma Kumara. The first king to Shambhala was Suchandra. And as we all know, Buddha divisions divided into several divisions. The Buddha division, Vajra division, Karma division, and Lotus division, and the Buddha division, Vajra division, Karma division, Lotus division, and Ratna division, or Jewel division. So the Buddhas are divided into these 5 divisions. And in the Lotus division, the head is Amitabha, Tathagata. And Padma Kumara, of course, belongs to the Lotus division. It's simple. Why we chant Namo 36,119,500 Buddhas with the same name and identification of Amitabha Buddha? Because the origin of Padma Kumara is Amitabha Buddha. That's also Lotus division. Why we have 36 trillions, just 36 trillions Amitabha Buddha. What does it include? It includes all the Tathagata in the Lotus division. And perhaps even includes all the Padma Kumaras. Therefore, there are 36 trillions, 119,500 Buddhas with the same name and identification of Amitabha. So the whole Lotus division is like the whole big family. And look at the Buddhas. Which Buddha? All the Buddhas are seated on top of a lotus. None of them are seated on a rock or elephant or lion. Many bodhisattvas have their pets. For Manjushri Bodhisattva, it's lion. For Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, it's elephant, his pet. And that Indian, Hindu gods, they also have pets. Like for the great Brahma, his pet is the white goose. And for Shiva, is Mahaswara, or the destroyer. His pet is the white ox. And for Vishnu, his path is Garuda. And many Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have path. But for the lotus division, everybody is seated on a lotus. So Padma Kumara has a powerful origin. So don't think that when someone asks, so what is your Yida, Padma Kumara? Oh, Padma Kumara, that's small case. Come on, how can it be small? He's the founder of Mahamudra, the lineage guru. That's the big shot. It's like a big shot. So don't underestimate yourself. Don't undermine yourself. So if you can gain spiritual union with Padma Kumara, my own spiritual experience is like this. Once you gain spiritual union with this deity, whichever other deity you want to invoke, by the power of this deity, you can be in spiritual union with all the other deities. So once you gain spiritual union with one Dharma practice, then you would be in union with all the other Dharma practices. And Padma Kumara is also the Vajra with great fortune. He can bestow to everybody. Therefore, true Buddha school disciples won the lotteries and prizes. But of course, you also have to have the merits to get that. If they have the merits, then they can get it. If they don't, they don't. But the poor can become rich. So this great fortune Vajra can bestow upon everybody. So today, let's continue to talk about Lamdre, because we've talked about Padma Kumara a lot. So I just briefly mention it. The nectar of accepting the realm. The wordings here, maybe you will not understand. I glanced at it a little bit and I found it. The writings, it's really hard to understand. Also, although the mind dwells on the Tanduli fire of the development stage, such as any convenient practice at the mandala wheel, the poison of continual thoughts will appear following what may come. The mind cannot be tamed to abide. It is like wanting to drink when thirsty. Such is the state of desire. The instruction on making the unabiding mind to abide is called the nectar of accepting the realm. As stated in the verse, the five consciousness, not reeking of the five realms, accept the nectar. This poison is the nectar of the desired. In the mundane realm itself, the mind and consciousness follows whatever may come. For example, when the eyes see all sorts of strange views and gimmicks and get attached to them, and all the way to the touch, whatever state is desired, the consciousness will try to satisfy, even for days afterwards, still feeling satiated. And the focus of the mind is on this craving. Therefore, we don't force ourselves to practice concentration. Instead, conveniently, we use this state of mind to think of this happening and to taste it. Then the mind will focus. It is like today, one is wearing a mask, dancing. That night, one still feels and sees this mask. As stated above, the name of the unabiding mind is the meditation of differentiating the pre-practice warm-up. And for the abiding mind, it would be like adding firewoods to the burning fire, and it is called accepting the nectar of all sorts of realms, which in the verse it is stated as accepting the nectar, and it is one of the 8 prominent benefits. Okay, the end of my reading. But let me ask, what are they talking about here? All the masters present. What opinion do you have about this part, accepting the nectar? Tanchen Gatso. What is your opinion on this excerpt? Do you understand it? No. You're honest. You're being honest. If you don't understand, you don't understand. And if you understand, you can say a few words so that we know if you truly understand. Anybody else? The one who often read the sutras. Master Liang Wang? One cannot understand by reading, the other one cannot understand by hearing. Okay, let me just briefly explain the meaning. The meaning, the summary meaning of this excerpt. Our thoughts, which are continual or like running thoughts, continual thoughts is a kind of poison. Like when you want to enter into samadhi, you can't because your thoughts are running continual. That's a kind of poison. And because you cannot stop your thoughts, how do you stop them? If you transform the thoughts to become nectar, and the nectar continually flow into your body, you use your visualization to have the nectar to shower upon your head and your body, inside your body, and your skin pores open, and all the karma from inside you becomes black smoke and flow out, and you visualize this way. Then you would be able to obtain the taste of the nectar. Once this appears, then you would like the nectar more and more. But it's no good if you like it too much. That accepting this nectar is one of the benefits. It's beneficial for you to enter into samadhi. That's the general meaning. Of course, it gives us a few examples inside, in there. Like before we enter into meditation, or you practice the treasure vase energy yoga and you practice it too much, then there would be several symptoms. First, your eyes would be red. That cannot disappear. And your gums will swell. Swollen gums. Third, a nosebleed. So when you practice treasure vase energy yoga and you get red eyes, bloody nose, and swollen gums that cannot disappear, or you practice the treasure vase energy yoga, that you would get hemorrhage. Hemorrhage, inflamed, or pain in some parts of the body. You feel the internal fire blazing, and that's the impure fire of your body, but not the pure body. The pure body is inner fire. That's the cool fire that can ascend and descend and burn away all the bad things from your body. That's the pure fire of inner fire. So in that case, I often teach people, when you meditate, you visualize your yidam seated on top of your head, on top of a lotus, and on your head, and the lotus stalk or the stem would enter into your body through the tip of your head, and you visualize your body is filled with white, cool nectar, and a very nice and cool, icy cold nectar. And through that lotus stem, drop by drop, it drip into your body from the feet until the feet is filled with nectar, and then your lower body filled with nectar, your upper body, and then your whole head, and your whole body is filled with the cool, refreshing nectar. Then this way you would be able to eliminate all the rising fire. The nectar is cooling, so it can remedy the fire that was generated from your treasure vase energy yoga improperly. And then when this nectar cleanses your whole body, your karma would become black smoke and expelled through your skin pores. So you start with visualization, and until you go into deep visualization, it becomes a real nectar entering into your body to become nice and clean and cool nectar. So every time in our practice, we would always chant the Sunyata mantra. You think of yourself to become empty. When you have become completely empty, there would be a kind of Dharma flow that enters into your body, and the Dharma flow is like the nectar filling your whole body. So this is what he talked about, accepting the nectar in this excerpt. So you use the visualization of the nectar to replace the continual thoughts, the poison of running thoughts. Because you still have a thought, and before it's being continued by another thought, another thought. So the 5 aggregates, the eyes, ear, nose, tongue, and body, can generate thought. For example, when you drive to a certain place and all of a sudden you think, oh, there's a friend who lives here in this alley, and then you will look at the alley. So your thought has turned into the alley. Or as you walk, your eyes see something, and then you would think of somebody, and then another thought comes. Or when you hear something, and a thought will rise. Go there. So the 5 consciousness, it's talking about 5 consciousness here. Like some people, it's like one is wearing a mask dancing, like the Tibetans would dance wearing masks, like the Vajra dancing, and then at night in your dream you would think of that mask. Your thoughts would be on that mask. So this is one of the 5 consciousness. So it's an example, like when one is wearing a mask dancing, or when you watch the performance of the Vajra dance at home, you still think about that mask. Or that mask still appear in your mind. Or the eyes see all kinds of strange gimmicks. Like say, if tonight you watch a show, a special effects show, then your mind, your thoughts would be on that show, and it may be for several days. That's the example. Things that you see, things that you hear, things that you think, or things that you taste, the food that you eat, and you would think like what you ate today, eyes, ears, nose, things that you have smelled. So that smell or taste would appear in your mind. So the thoughts that were generated by the 5 consciousness, and the thoughts are continual and running, that make it impossible for you to enter into meditation. So accepting the nectar is one of the methods. That's the key point. So It's one of the 8 prominent benefits accepting the nectar. Accepting the nectar of all sorts of realms. If your mind can abide, or the mind is stable, then it would be like adding firewoods to the burning fire. When the fire is blazing and the nectar drips, that will become, the nectar becomes oil. So it would be adding firewoods. That would be like accepting the nectar of all sorts of realms. But if the mind cannot be abiding, then there is differentiation. But if the mind is abiding, there is no differentiation. So that's the meaning of this excerpt. The wife asked the husband, if you have a pick of your career, what would you do? I would get into the military. And the wife said, are you sure you can bear the strict restraint and discipline? A very strict constraint, restraint. You have to live in the compound, and you can only get out on the holiday. When we were in the military, we have to receive the training inside the compound and only go out on a certain day, like say on a Sunday, once a week. Can you bear it? And the husband replied, sure, I've received training. Really? What training? And the husband replied, being married to you is the training. Many wives very control their husbands very strictly after married. At night you cannot go by yourself, you have to stay at home. In the daytime you go to work, and at a certain hour, certain minute, and then where else did you go? Very strict control. What time you go to work, what time you get off work, and then at night you cannot go out. So it's the same as in the military, right? Very strict control. Actually, in our spiritual cultivation or Buddhist practice is the same as in the military. The thoughts cannot just go everywhere. So when I was receiving training at the 5th survey team, see, they taught us to sit only a third at the wooden chair or bench. You couldn't sit like that. So you have to sit up straight and only sit a third of the bench. And your eyes have to look straight, cannot look left and right and just look around. You have to look straight. So you have to obey, because that's a training. So today our thoughts are flying all over. Now we're teaching you to focus, and your eyes cannot look around. If you do, then your mind, your spirit will also be chaotic. Or you look at, other soldiers, or the ladies at the convenience stores walking by. In the military, they have that, and everybody's looking. But no, your eyes cannot just look around. Like when you want to get a bun, it's a pile of buns, a whole bucket. You cannot just pick the second one. You cannot pick the top one. You have to pick the one at the top. If you don't, you would be punished. That's the rule. You can only take the one on top. It's the same thing when you eat. You sit upright, you bring the bowl to your mouth, and you eat like this. You don't eat like this. That's no good. You always lift your bowl to your mouth. There are many rules in the military. Very strict training. The same with our thoughts. The thoughts cannot fly all over, but in reality they do. So it's written here, the poison of continually running thoughts, one thought after another, just like a waterfall. Lao Wang went to the pet shop and bought a poodle for $2,000. After he paid, when he was just about to leave, he asked the shopkeeper, "Is this dog loyal?" And the shop owner said, "Of course. Every time I sold her, she would come back by herself. 5 times. So this dog had been sold for 5 times, but she went back to the pet shop. So she's truly loyal. Our thoughts are the same. Think about it. For your mind, just one thought is good enough, not too many. Just one thought, and this is called loyal to yourself. For spiritual cultivator, we all only need one thought. At the beginning, Amitabha Buddha, Golden Mother, and Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva appeared in my vision, and each one of them told me a statement. The one is like wholeheartedly toward goodness, just one thought, one mind, which is goodness. And the other one said, you have to be single-minded in your Dharma practice, in your Dharma study. And the other one said, single-mindedly study the Buddha. So they only thought these 3 things, and combined it's only one thing. Single-mindedly toward goodness, and that's development stage. For the perfection stage, that's the Buddha Dharma. None others, Golden Mother told me, single-mindedly toward goodness. Amitabha told me, single-mindedly study the Buddha, and Kshitigarbha said, single-mindedly study the Dharma. You cannot have any other thoughts. Any other thoughts already deviant from the Buddha Dharma and goodness. Already deviated. Therefore, every spiritual cultivator should be the same. We should be the same, wholeheartedly, single-mindedly. We are toward goodness, study the Buddha and study the Dharma. Because now you're already spiritual cultivators, and you should be like this. You should not be, you should not desire other things. Someone lost his job. He went for an interview at a company to become a salesman. It went quite well, except the last part. The boss gave me a piece of report and it's all English, but my English is zip, is nil. But I really wanted this job, so I just say what I like, say whatever. And the boss looked at me perplexed, and I thought he did not know English either. So I said whatever I like, and then I even added my own explanation. And then the boss finally said that a salesman really needs a shameless person like you, so come to work tomorrow. So he doesn't know English, but still dare to speak. Grandmaster is like this too, has this kind of spirit. Although I don't understand English, I still speak English. Master Lien O just said it earlier. We don't go back to Taiwan. There are three reasons. One, it's because Taiwan air is very dirty. If you go back to Taiwan, you would be sick. That's the first reason. The second reason, Master Lien Shen is sick now. She. There. To refer to a woman is she. It sounds like dead. So her head and feet are not working. If to the medicine, okay, but no medicine not working. And that was two. The third reason, listen carefully. Taiwan's so many mosquitoes. They eat me every night.
OK， 这是讲英文嘛，对不对？
So, this is English speaking, right? So I just give you these 3 reasons as answer to you. And the first one is the most important. The air is very dirty, yuck. So these 3 reasons are very legit. So, because the badly polluted air, it can cause lung cancer or lung problems, especially in Taichung. Because in Taichung, there's the 2nd biggest coal-generated power plant. So, and especially in the Situn district of Taichung City where we live, it's the worst, the most severe. And when we stand at the Taiwan temple and we look below, it's all covered with smog. And at my own house, on the 22nd floor, and we look down, the Bodhisattva peak is on the 22nd floor, and it's all smog and muggy, you know, below. You can tell it is like the fairyland, and very fast you can go to the Pure Land. You can barely breathe there. But Taiwanese are very, very stubborn. You know, they don't wear any masks because they haven't felt the effect. But once they got the lung problems, it would be too late. And the statistics already out. The lung cancers has increased by 20%. So it's a very severe problem. I really hope that the air will improve, then I can definitely go back. But for Simu, she has to be able to control her hand and feet, and she should not travel long distance. And 3rd reason, look at in Seattle, I don't need to put the mosquito repellent or anything, or the incense or anything. So, do you have mosquitoes? No. They're like mosquito repellent incense. But every time we go back to Taiwan, we have to put that every day, every night. And they use oil or electrical to evaporate it so that the whole air inside the bedroom is filled with that smoke in order to repel the mosquitoes. And just breathing in that fume is horrible. So the mosquitoes eat me. the farmer has a guest, and the farmer wanted to kill the cock, the rooster, and the rooster flew to the rooftop. And the farmer got really angry. Hey, if you don't come down, I'll kill all the hens. And you would want to prefer to die, but the rooster said, hey, good idea, then finally I can go for the wild hen. Like the advertisement for the Kentucky Fried Chicken. In English, we do chicken right. And there are several translations. It is right for us to be a chicken. Mom and Dad were arguing, and the mom was really angry and left home. And Dad tried to use the phone calls and texts to apologize and to comfort her, and she ignored him totally. And then I called her and only said 3 words, and Mom immediately got home. And Dad asked me, I've said so much and didn't work. What did you say? Just 3 words and she came back. What did you say? And he said, hey Dad, you should admit that now you're not love anymore. All I said was that I'm hungry. And she comes back. One day, Taiwan Lijiang Temple can make a phone call to us and say, I'm hungry. And then Sumu will go back. Really, a lot of things we still have to be compassionate. When Taiwan needs Grandmaster or Sumu, a really important matter, then we will still go back. Xiaomei attended the high school reunion, and she discovered that the school beauty, the queen of the school, still haven't got married. So she's very happy, got home and told her husband, hey, our school beauty is not married yet, and look at me. It's just ordinary, but I'm already married. And the husband replied very calmly. And look at the supermarket or the hypermarket. Things that are on a discount can be sold really fast. So what does it mean? If we use it on this accepting the nectar, how we should say? can say it this way.
我们心啊，我们真的要心住在一个点上。
Our mind should abide or stay on one point, and that's very difficult. But if you use other methods to make the mind to focus on one point, that would be easier. If you force yourself to stop your thoughts, to just focus at one point, that would be very difficult. However, if you use other surrounding methods to help the mind to focus on one point, that would be easier. We can say that. So that's the meaning of this joke. Of course, the most precious one is when you can stop all thoughts. But in reality, that's extremely difficult. But you can use all different kinds of methods to make your mind to focus at one point. And accepting the nectar is one of them, one of the methods. You continually visualize the nectar entering into your body to fill your body and to expel your karma. That's a very good method. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.